try to do, get you transitioning on plane as simply as possible without feeling the manipulations, right? So what I mean by that, you guys know, any of my viewers know, I'm not a huge fan of sitting there going like this. I'm not a huge fan of, you know, the crazy, crazy rehearsals that are not realistic. But we've talked about how no matter how good we've got that backswing at points, your tendency for so long has always been just to kick that club out this way, that we'd be foolish not to have to feel something in transition that lays that golf club down a little bit. So we're really going to focus today on getting the club down the line with a flat left wrist. A flat left wrist is key for him. When he gets cupped, it presets the out and open transition. So we're really going to work today to flatten that left wrist. We'll go over that, and we'll talk about the components of that. There's two things that flatten that left wrist. The direction at which you hinge the golf club, you know, not straight up, that's cupped. You know, not straight back, that's bowed. But it's that 45-degree angle combined with a turn that flattens that wrist. And then really keeping that right elbow. It's has been his big thing, keeping his right elbow from breaking down and getting back behind, but really feeling like you have the Tour Striker ball between your arms and using, watch this here we go, 45 degrees, turn, there's the flat wrist, but the elbow pushes up against this arm, which creates that look right there. Watch what happens when this elbow flares. So that elbow plays a big role in that wrist being flat. Now guys, that wrist being flat, check us out. Just bringing it down here. Watch what happens when I'm in the same spot and it's cupped. That just changed like 10, 15 degrees and it opened the club face, right? So now it requires you to actually swing more left. So bringing the elbows in, absolutely. So that's a big one, right guys? So like giving blood with the right, pulling that in to the left, that feeling there. So he's gonna work right now on turning his shoulders, keeping this pressure in here. So it's like I'm holding him right here and go ahead and go halfway back right there. See what I just did? That's a good feel. That's the feeling. I mean, really, and I've been doing this to a lot of players lately. I actually love this. It's like, this is my new one. I mean, there's always this one right here. That's great, 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 great feeling for not backing up the arm. But I've been actually pulling this and saying, well, hey, you know, I always say the funny bone should point down towards the golf ball right there if you're in the skipping rock position. So why don't you just pull that, hold it over here, and let the arm go, and everything kind of works up to the top. And you can see it actually puts that arm in a really good spot. That's exactly what you need. Halfway back, I want to see the arms, the distance between them, stay the exact same width apart, halfway back. Okay. Right elbow in front of the side of the body, not only in the backswing, but in the downswing, we want to have that right elbow beating our right pocket to the golf ball. So on these next couple, feel like that right elbow gets in front of your right pocket. The only bummer is this, when we get the laterals going, well, guess what? The arm stays back there and never gets in front, and then it's just always caught, right? So he'll put it like, if he's holding it here, I'll put it like right there, you know, just to give him a visual in transition to be able to get underneath that, okay? And then what I'll do is I'll move this up ahead, you know, just left of his target line, so that when he's looking here, the visual will help him. You know, he'll be right here, and not only is he going to say, okay, well, I want to miss this, but I want to start the ball out right of that, is when he goes through his pre-shot routine, I want you to pick a spot out there. And sometimes that spot doesn't even have to be in line with your target. It can be just left of it, and you can say what? Well, guess what? I'm going to get in there, and like that alignment rod, I'm going to start that ball just right of that spot, right? So that's a great way to play golf today and kind of transition from what you're doing here out to there. Elbows together, feeling, he needs to feel like the right hand's under and the left back of the left wrist is to the sky. If you're wearing a watch, it's like pointed up at the sky right here. That's what the feeling for you needs to be, okay? If you can do more of this versus this. Right. You guys see how that cups the wrist? So watch my right arm, ready? When this gets wide, look what it does. See that? The way that this arm, so it's not just your left wrist, it's the right arm affects the left wrist, okay? So it has to be together, come down more shallow, but what do you notice about the club face?
Open.
It's open. Yeah. So a lot of times what you'll see then is post-impact, that. Well, why? Because it's open to the point where then you had to do some magic at the bottom. So here's the thing. Even though we're starting to see the club come down shallower, that face is open. Now that's that wrist and that's that elbow, right? That's this look here versus that look right there. Okay, let's we see that. So if we can do a good job of now getting back into this position with the toe seemingly feeling more down. I had a student once say this to me during a lesson, and I thought this was actually great. It's like you're putting the lid on a garbage can. You wouldn't go, you know, it's more, you see my right wrist?
Yeah.
My right wrist is more on top right here rather than on the side, and that would take my left wrist and not make it cup. But if I'm cupped, here's the big thing. We're gonna see this post-impact, right?
Yeah.
And you can see that it's gonna have this look right here. We don't want that. That's the manipulation to hit it straight. We want to be able to get right here. And look at my club face there. You see that? That's the club face that's square through impact. That ball was actually drawing, and I had no release to it. So when you see this post-impact right there, you know that it's because the club face was so open here and a little behind you, so you had to catch it up. But what we're going to really focus on, elbows together, good rhythm, flat left wrist, and making sure that the toe feels like it comes more down on the way down, but then let it be like this.
Right.
The face is wide open. That's why that wrist and that elbow are so important, because, you know, we're trying to not manipulate things, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to feel like we have to go like this.
Right.
But the reality is, from this position right here, we would have to do something drastic. But here's the thing, if we can get the flat wrist here, keep the elbow together, and have that position here, well, the great thing is, you know, I can speak honestly, I don't feel like I have to do anything on the way down.
Well, no, because if you get that elbow in tight, you almost can't cup your wrist.
Absolutely. You know what's funny though? Guess what he's trying to do? He's trying to hit little butter cuts over there.
Yeah.
You know what we're trying to do? Hit little butter draws.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so funny how that works. Just to neutralize the boys and bring them back here. Bring them in here.